Hallo, in this video you'll learn how to greet someone in Dutch, just like I just did. Hallo, you'll also learn how to say goodbye. Iemand begroeten means to greet someone. And in Dutch, just like in English, you can do this both formally, goeiedag, and informally. Hey, we can symbolize the difference with this casual cap versus this fancy looking top hat. I'll also include the scale that shows which greetings are formal versus informal. Let's start with the informal greetings. These are greetings for friends, family, or people you know well. First up, hey. It sounds the same as in English and it's also used in the same way. Then for a very informal greeting, there's also yo. I personally don't use this, but a lot of people do, including grown-ups. It's something you wouldn't necessarily say to your oma or opa unless you happen to have very cool grandparents. Then there are also some greetings that can be used in both a formal and informal setting, namely hallo and dag. Hallo is like hello, but then with an A. And you could simply say hallo, but you could also say hallo mama, hallo opa. Or if you don't feel like greeting everyone one by one, you can say hallo allemaal of hallo iedereen. For more formal settings, you can simply add mevrouw or meneer at the end. Hallo mevrouw, hallo meneer. Then there's also dag, which literally means day. For people you know well, you can add their name or their kinship term, turning it into dag Philippe, dag Kathleen, dag papa, dag oma, dag allemaal. And you can also expand it further by adding a hey at the front. Hey, dag Philippe. For more formal settings, you can add mevrouw, meneer, or their function. Dag mevrouw, dag meneer, dag dokter. Now let's take a look at some other formal greetings. These are the ones you can use at work or in public settings like at a shop or a restaurant. Just as in English, these depend on the time of day and are created by combining the word good plus the time of day. So we have goedemorgen, goedemiddag, goedenavond, and also the general goedendag. Now in big parts of the Netherlands, they use a much stronger G. For example, they would say
Goedemorgen, goedemiddag, goedenavond, goedendag.
However, in Belgium, we have a much softer G. Besides this version with a D, we also have a version with an I. And this I version is used much more in everyday speech. So that leaves us with goedemorgen, goedemiddag, goedenavond, goeiedag. You can use whatever version you prefer. Just keep in mind that goedemiddag sounds a little bit more formal than goedemiddag, and people will generally use goedemiddag in speaking. So let's say you're entering a shop. The shopkeeper is likely to greet you with dag mevrouw or dag meneer, or they might also say goeiedag, goeiemorgen, goeiemiddag, goedenavond. In return, you're likely to greet them back with either goeiedag, goeiemorgen, goeiemiddag, or goedenavond. They might also simply greet you with a hallo, and then you can just say hallo back. Hey is quite unlikely because Belgium is a slightly more formal country, at least when you compare it to the Netherlands. Now, when it comes to goeiedag, goeiemorgen, goeiemiddag, and goedenavond, keep in mind that these are all rather formal. One exception though is goeiemorgen, which you can also use with friends and family. It's the exact same thing in English. While you're unlikely to greet a friend with good afternoon, you are likely to say good morning. So let's imagine an idyllic scene of a family having breakfast together. Ze ontbijten samen. De papa zegt goedemorgen allemaal. De kindjes zeggen goedemorgen papa. En de mama zegt goedemorgen schat. Schat means darling in Dutch, but the literal translation is treasure. So for example, a pirate might say, ik heb een schat gevonden. Actually, he probably would be a bit more excited, so ik heb een schat gevonden. Of course, every hello also needs a goodbye. So let's look at how to do that. Just as with the greetings, this can be done informally or formally. Let's start with the informal ones. These differ quite a bit between Belgium and the Netherlands. Doei and doeg are informal words you're likely to hear in the Netherlands, for example, whereas in Belgium, we're more likely to use the French-influenced salut. This salut can come in multiple shapes, such as salutjes and salukus. You could also add a E at the end to make it even warmer, a little more casual, and very, very Flemish.
Salut, salutjes, salutjes.
Another option is yo. The same yo you can also use as an informal greeting. You generally use this as a reply to someone else saying goodbye. So for example, one person might say salut and the other person might respond with yo. Finally, the most common one is a simple dag. So while the greeting is a short dag, the goodbye is generally more stretched. Dag Philippe, dag Philippe, dag. Now, with all the goodbyes we've seen so far, we haven't been including any indication of when we will see the other person again. To give such an indication, you'll use the formula tot plus the word that fits your situation. Tot means until. If you know you'll be seeing someone again that same day, informally you can say tot ziens or tot ziens. They both mean see you in a bit. Two other options are tot straks and tot zo. While tot ziens and tot ziens are quite informal, tot straks and tot zo are neither informal nor formal and can be used in all situations if you're going to see that person again the same day. Of course, if you already know exactly when you'll see someone again, you can also be more specific. Tot vanavond, tot morgen, tot maandag, tot volgende week. Remember that with all of these, you can add a e at the end to give it that little extra Flemish touch. Tot ziens, tot maandag. Now, what if you know you'll see the other person again, but you're not exactly sure when? Two options that are neither very formal nor informal would be tot dan, tot binnenkort. With friends and family, you could also combine it with salut and say something like salut, tot binnenkort. However, if we're talking to people we don't know well, like when we're leaving a restaurant, a shop, or a bank, we'd more likely use some of the following expressions. Tot ziens. Zien means to see, so you're literally saying until seeing. Another option is tot de volgende or tot de volgende keer. And if you want to wish someone well, you can also say fijne dag nog or prettige dag nog. Here the word order is quite flexible and you could also say nog een fijne dag. Okay, that was a lot of information, so let's check what you remember with 4 short questions. Number 1, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you walk into a store. Which of the following could you say? Yo, salut, goedemiddag, or hallo? The correct answers are goedemiddag and hallo. Yo would be way too informal and salut is used for when you say goodbye. Number 2. Your friends are having breakfast and you're joining them at the breakfast table. Which of the following could you say? Goedemorgen allemaal, goedenavond iedereen, hey, or tot later. The correct answers are goedemorgen allemaal and hey. Goedenavond iedereen is used in the evening and tot later means see you later. Which one of these greetings can be used both informally and formally? Hey, hallo, yo, and goeiedag. The correct answer is hallo. Hey is informal, yo is very informal, and goeiedag is rather formal. So hallo is the only one that you can use in both formal and informal settings. And you can also make it extra formal by saying hallo meneer or hallo mevrouw. Number 4, also our last question. Which goodbye would you use if you were to see someone very soon? As in, you'll see them again that same day. Tot ziens, tot straks, tot maandag, or tot ziens. The correct answers are tot ziens and tot straks. Tot maandag means see you on Monday, and tot ziens is a rather vague statement where you're not really sure when you'll see each other again, and it's also rather formal. Great, now you know how to greet people and you also know how to say goodbye when you leave. What's your favorite way to say hello and goodbye in Dutch? Write it in the comments. Personally, I usually say hey, hallo, and dag. If you enjoyed this video, you can also watch the version that I created entirely in Dutch. You can find it here. Tot de volgende keer. Dag!